Act 3, the battle for the human heart. Act 3 begins in darkness. Darkness over the deep, and God's breath hovering over the waters. It's like a symphony or a concert about to begin, the hush in the darkness before the first notes. Or like the darkness of your bedroom before someone flings open the curtains to the new day. And not just any day, Christmas Day. Suddenly, a word is spoken, and there is light. Another word is spoken, and the great canopy of the heavens is revealed, a sky more blue than you've ever seen it. Another word is spoken, and the great land masses rise out of the seas. Yet another word, and the forests and the meadows and the plant life fills the earth. Cabernet grapes drip from the vine, and blackberries burst forth on their bushes. Linger here a moment and feel God's happiness with it all. Don't rush to Genesis 3 and the fall of man. Stay in Genesis 1 for a moment. Stay in the creation story. It is an astonishing world. If you learned about Eden in Sunday school with flannel graphs, you missed something. You have to picture the most beautiful scenes on earth that you have ever beheld. The first time you ever saw mountains, real mountains, or the open sea, or the prairie in full bloom. Linger here a moment and feel God's happiness with it all. A world young and unspoiled, a world with dew still on it, to borrow Norman MacLean's wonderful phrase. Don't rush to Genesis 3 and the fall of man. Stay here in Genesis 1 for a moment. Stay here at the dawn of creation. You have to picture the most beautiful scenes you've ever seen on earth. The prairie in full bloom, or the Alps under a winter snow, or the African savanna with thunder clouds over it. And then picture it all on the day it was born. It's the Shire in its innocence. It's the scene in the Garden of the Mission with Iguazu Falls. It's the opening of The Lion King. And it doesn't stop there. Into this amazing world, God opens His hand and all of the animals spring forth. The birds, hawks, and herons, and pelicans of all things. And the fish of the sea, whales and dolphins and fish of 1,000 colors and designs. And on the prairies and the plains, immense herds of wild horses and buffalo and gazelle running like the wind. A wonder the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy. A great hurrah goes up from the heavens. It is an astonishing world that we live in, and we have grown dull to it. We try and describe it as scientific. It is not normal or scientific in any sense of the word. The world we live in is as fantastic as any fairy tale. I mean, really now. Peacocks? Butterflies? Elephants? Yes, it is a world made for romance. You see, creation unfolds like a great work of art. It starts with uncut stone or a rough sketch or a lump of clay. And then God begins to work with the elements. First, large motions on a sweeping scale, right? Light and dark, land and sea, heaven and earth. And then He comes back through for a second pass with color and detail and finer lines, right? The forests and the meadows and all of the flowers in their array. And then the animal kingdom and its stunning diversity. You see how creation is swelling towards a crescendo? It's getting better and better, more glorious, more noble. I mean, a tulip is an amazing thing, but it does not compare to a wild horse. It's growing in its intricacy and its complexity. And then God does something absolutely astounding. And then God said, let us make a man in our own image, in our own likeness, and let him rule over all of the fish of the sea and the birds of the air and all of the creatures on the earth. And so God made mankind in His own image. Male and female, He created them. Oh, you have to picture the scene in Braveheart where the rugged William Wallace and the beautiful Muron are riding together bareback through the highlands of Scotland, wading through streams and sitting to talk as if for the very first time. You have to picture the scene on the bow of the Titanic. You remember? Where Jack is out on the front of the ship and Rose comes and says that she's changed her mind. And he leads her up to the rail and he shows her the colors of the sunset and the sea, an emerald sea they are slicing through. And their first kiss. You have to remember the scene in the Fellowship of the Ring in the Garden of Rivendell, where the great warrior Aragorn and the Lady Arwen steal away in the moonlight to the bridge. Ladies, remember the bridge scene? Also to share a kiss. We are haunted by Eden. It finds its way into nearly every story. We've heard a lot about original sin, but not nearly enough about original glory. Why does a woman long to be found beautiful? Why does a man hope to be found brave? Because we remember that we were once more than we are now. There are echoes in our hearts of Eden. And then God gives to us a freedom that just staggers me. He endows us with qualities like His own. He gives us the ability to reason and laughter and a love of story. And then He gives us a freedom, the power to love. It is the greatest joy of Eden. It is the quality that we bear that is most like His own. And with that quality comes a staggering risk, because we also have the freedom to reject Him. Good grief! What is He thinking? He knows what free-willed creatures can do. He's already suffered one massive betrayal in the rebellion of the angels. He knows how we will use our freedom, what hell it will unleash on earth. Why? Why does He give us freedom? Well, as Phil Yancey says, power can do everything but the most important thing. It cannot control love. The guards in a concentration camp, for example, possess unlimited power over you. If you are their prisoner, they can force you to do anything. Eat human excrement, kill and bury your mother, renounce your God. There is one thing they have never been able to force anyone to do. Love them. It's why God seems shy to use His power in Act 3. He did not create us to be puppets on a string or cringing subjects. He created us to be lovers, to be His friends and allies, to join Him in this great story. This is the answer to what C.S. Lewis called the problem of pain. Why would a good and loving God create a world where evil is possible? Doesn't He care about our happiness? Isn't He good? Well, He does care, and He is good. In fact, He cares so much, He gives us the possibility of the greatest happiness of all, which is to be loved and to love. And with that happiness and with that possibility comes a freedom that every person must enjoy. We are free to choose for or against Him. And this is where our story takes its tragic turn. For evil was lurking in that garden. If you'll recall, the great captain was once glorious also, more glorious than we, and powerful beyond compare. And he was hurled down but not destroyed. And he waited his time. He bided for his moment. Lurking in the shadows, Satan comes to us in the garden, and he whispers to us the same lie he used with the angels. You cannot trust the heart of God. He's holding out on you. Look, you've got to reach for what you want. You've got to take matters into your own hands. Rewrite the story. Give yourself a little better part. We believed him. And paradise was lost. Something in our hearts shifted. And in that shifting we reached, and in that reaching we fell from grace. So Helen betrays Menelaus and all of Greece and runs off to Troy with her lover. So Boromir betrays the fellowship in his lust for the ring. So Edmund betrays his own brother and sisters and all of Narnia and sides with the White Witch. And our glory faded as Milton said, faded so soon. Have you ever wondered why life doesn't come anywhere near the desires that you have in your heart? I mean, it does not match up. These longings that we have for beauty and intimacy and adventure. The fall explains it. The ship has gone down. Winter has come to Narnia. Commodus commits murder, and Rome falls under its most wicked emperor ever. Or as 1 John has it, now the whole world lies under the power of the evil one. It is more tragic than we can possibly imagine. But consider also this. Every story has a rescue. I hope you've enjoyed this taste of epic, the story that God is telling. And it was just a taste. And so for the full experience, come to ransomedheart.com/epic. And let me tell you a little bit about Ransomed Heart. We're a little ministry with a big message, and we have three things we're after. We're trying to recover the treasure of the Christian gospel. I mean, what most people think Christianity is about these days is so small and so far from what God really is like and what He's doing in the world. We want to get that treasure back. And we want to see it, secondly, restore the lives of men and women. We are a gospel of restoration. God wants to heal our lives as men and women so that we can live in this story. And then thirdly, we want to help you walk with God, to have an intimate, conversational relationship with your God. So come to ransomedheart.com and browse around, see what we're all about.